All right, everybody, good afternoon. We've got another Seattle Seahawks signing. We've got another Seattle Seahawks move. It's not something that I expected. It's not something that a lot of people had on their radar. It is something that I talked about several weeks ago when I was making the initial free agency videos. But honestly, I thought this guy had already signed with the Detroit Lions yesterday, so I wasn't even thinking about him. But the Seattle Seahawks signed an edge rusher, DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence of the Dallas Cowboys. He had actually been a Cowboy his entire career, and now he is going to be spending some time with the Seattle Seahawks. It is a 3-year deal worth up to 42 million, which that's a little dicey. However, we need to see exactly how this contract breaks out because we've also been told only 18 million of that is guaranteed. So this may be a deal where the outs are pretty clean. We'll just have to see where things shake out with regard to that. And we're not going to get to see the contract for a bit. So all I can do is talk about the player. DeMarcus Lawrence has been a great player in this league for much of his career. He made back-to-back Pro Bowls 2 years ago. He was considered to be one of the best all-around edge players in the entire NFL in 2023. PFF graded him above a 91. So he was elite. He was part of an elite Cowboys defense. He was part of that elite Cowboys front. So he was about as good as it got. Now last year he missed most of the season. He only played 4 games. Had an injury, and he is also about to turn 33. So there are some downsides here for sure. This guy's definitely on the wrong side of his career. This guy's played in 140 plus games in his career in the NFL. This guy started over 120 games. He's coming off a season where he really didn't play that much, which I guess could be a good thing, but it can certainly be a bad thing. And it's a multi-year deal. So this one's I definitely have some mixed thoughts here for sure. He's been great. If he plays the way he played 2 years ago, then this is fantastic. He's one of the best players in the league, and we're not going to be leaning on him to do a ton. But that was 2 years ago, and now he's 33. So really, it might feel like it's 4 years ago because you start to age quicker the older you get. So this one's a little bit hard to zoom in on. Again, I want to see the exact contract. The initial contract is just a little bit intimidating because 3 years, 42, that's not something that I would really necessarily sign off on. However, I will say this. We have a lot of cap space. We created a lot of cap space. We went out of our way to create a lot of cap space. If we don't use it, then what was the point? So, to an extent, you have the cap space. You should spend it, even if it means having to overpay to get somebody that you really want. Remember, by the way, our DC, Aiden Byrd, he coached DeMarcus Lawrence when he was in Dallas. So this is probably a little bit of an Aiden Byrd signing. This is probably one of Aiden's guys. This is probably something that he really pushed for. And I can understand why. He's had a great career. He's been a great player. He hasn't put up big, flashy stats in the last 6 years or so. Last time he had a double-digit sack season was 2018. But I think it's important to understand that this is not necessarily a player that is defined by his stats. There have been plenty of players like that. Like when, just as an example off the top of my head, when Cliff Averill was here, he never put up God mode stats. Cliff Averill never had like a 15 sack season, but he was so good. He was so valuable, and people who actually watched football understood that on a snap to snap basis, he had tremendous value. DeMarcus Lawrence, kind of like that. He's not somebody who's ever going to, especially, well, at this point in his career, have some 12, 13, 14 sack season, but his snap to snap value is very good. Or at least it was. We're going to have to see if he can get back to his 2023 form in 2025, or at least something close. He's certainly worth more than the money he got if he gets back to 2023 form, but I would take a good, solid part of this edge rotation. So, assuming we keep Nwosu, and right now I think that's the case, the edge room is basically set for 2025. You've got Nwosu, Mafe, Hall, and now DeMarcus Lawrence. And by the way, one last thing about DeMarcus Lawrence I want to say. He's not huge for an edge rusher, but he is bigger than the average edge rusher at 265. This might be McDonald's way of trying to find himself a big edge, an oversized edge player. So, I'm for now, I'm gonna say I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna fall in love with it. I need to see this contract, and there's definitely risk involved. There's definitely risk here. If this doesn't work out, there is a non-trivial amount of cap that you put into an older player that is not going to provide long-term value. So if the short term doesn't work out, it hurts. But I can see where this guy has been very good at many times in his career. Sometimes players like this age very gracefully, and maybe last year was just a fluke because he got hurt. All right. I think that's really all I can say, so I'm going to see you guys later. Go Hawks. I'm going to get this video up, and then we'll see if anything else happens today. But, yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence, 3 years, 42 million, 18 guaranteed. We'll know more later.